make sure I have record on, because I just did this class and I forgot to push record. So for those of you that watched me before, you're going to get a little repeat, and actually I'll try to finish the project so you can actually see the whole thing. But I'm Matott for Helmar Live, and we're going to create a Nicho box, a little shadow box in the style of Mexican folk art that we're going to be creating with embossing powders. We're going to use the 450 quick dry adhesive. We're going to use the decoupage and craft paste from Helmar, and the crackle medium step 1 for that. And then we're also going to use the zap dots in the black 1/2-inch square. They look like this. Alright, so those are the Helmar products we're going to use tonight. And then we're also going to use the Wow embossing powders. So this is like the ultra high gold, and we're also going to use the regular gold. And then we're going to use 2 colors. This is the opaque primary azure and the whirly pop color. And then I'm using pink paisley stamps, and I think that's pretty much it. And chipboard. So I'm going to pan down and show you what we have here. I don't have my original example because it was a CHA project, and it's with Susie West for Wow embossing powder. So she has my original. So I'm just going to recreate it tonight for you, and we're going to have the recorded version on so that you can watch it later as well. So most of you will hopefully be watching this later. So I'm just cleaning up my mess over here. Okay, so what I'm doing is creating the shadow box part of the Nichos from the lid of this paper mache oval box. And I think this is I don't know what size this is, it doesn't say, but I got it at a craft store. It's like Hobby Lobby or Michael's. Okay, so I already covered and did the inside from the previous show, but what I started with is I did some stamp heat embossing with this stamp. So this is, I did one ahead of time here so you could see. This is just cardstock with gold embossing powder on it. And then I'm just going to cut it out and I'm going to adhere it to the bottom with the decoupage paste. So I did all the embossing ahead of time because that took a good portion of the time, and I didn't want to spend too much time on that for this video because I want to move, or the recorded part, because I want to move on. But I'm cutting slightly smaller than the drawn line. I just traced the bottom of the oval, and now I'm cutting it, and then I'll decoupage it. You could do this with die cutting machine, probably would be easier and quicker, helpful, but since I don't really want to take the time to measure, I'm just kind of eyeballing it. Okay, so there's my oval. It's a little big still, so it's okay. I'm going to just cut it down a little. Alright, now it fits pretty well in there. And I'm just making sure it fits well, and then I'm going to brush on the decoupage paste to adhere this down. Okay, and then I could save the rest of this for the edging later. Put that aside. Scrap. Alright, so the decoupage paste, I'm just using a foam applicator brush, and I'm going to adhere a good quantity, you know, just a nice even coat to the bottom of the box, or the lid. Actually, you would do it on the lid. I'm doing the box because I already did the lid. So I'm just showing you this. And I might make another one of these with a bigger box later. So a nice even coat will hold it well. Okay, so that's the decoupage paste. And then I'm going to put this in here. Make sure it's in there the right way. Alright, and then I'm just using a old credit card kind of thing, and I'm going to adhere it down, just kind of getting the bubbles out, making good contact around the edges. And then I'll make sure it's nice and smooth down. And if any oozes out, this will catch it. Okay, so I'm just making sure it's down really good. You don't want a big bubble in the middle. That wouldn't be good. But this stuff is so nice and sticky, so once it's on there, it is not coming off. It's not going to raise up. It's really going to be adhered well. Just making sure I get all the edges in the middle. Okay, so that's adhered in there pretty well. Can you see? Now what I did with this is I sprayed it with some spray inks, and I also adhered the paper strips to the edge inside, like that. Alright, and then we're also going to do something to this outside edge and to the part that we're going to frame it with. So we're going to be using a frame to create that shadow box look. Oops, sticking. Alright, and this is the frame, and I cut out a shape. And you could do it with a die cutter, you know, cut out a big shape that's the size of the lid diameter. And then I did this by hand because I wanted a specific shape. So I'm going to save this because I'm going to use that later. But this is going to go on the edge like this to create the shadow box. See that? It has some dimension. Okay? Or I could do a deeper one. This is the deeper. So you could use the box part as the deeper one there. Just raise this up a little. Okay. Alright. Move that. Alright, so with this, I don't want to adhere this yet because I'm going to do something to this frame and to the edge of this. So let me just set this aside. So this part, I am going to be using the crackle medium, and the reason why I'm using this crackle medium versus something else, you know, another type of adhesive, is that the crackle medium, when it dries, it remains sticky. So it's perfect for gold leafing and for, you know, for any particular technique where you're going to be wanting something to adhere to it, like the powders for the embossing powder. Alright, so let me just find my brush, and I'm going to brush this on. This is the crackle medium, just the step one from the two-part crackle. Okay, and I'm going to brush this on here and get a nice coating. I want it to remain really sticky, so Now I'm going to be putting like ultra high embossing powder on this, so you want it to kind of dry and be tacky, and you'll know it's dry because it won't be milky anymore. It'll kind of even itself out and be see-through and tacky to the touch. Alright, make sure I cover all of it. Looks pretty good. Okay, so I need to set that aside and let it dry. Oops, I think I missed a spot right here. There we go. So I'm going to set that aside and let it dry. And then these two, this piece I'm going to cut in half, and I'm going to do the same thing with that. So I'm going to brush the crackle medium on there. Alright, I've already done that part, so I'm going to show you what I'm going to do with that after I clean up my gluey mess here. Oops. And my hands. Oh, my squeaky chair. Sorry. So I am just cleaning up my mess here, but you're gonna see I'm gonna do the next part where I'm gonna do the outside of this as well as I gotta find a towel. As well as the frame parts. To make sure this is good and clean up so it's not sticky. Okay. Alright, so here is the one of the half pieces that I already did this to. Hang on, I'm going to see if I can lower the boom here. Let me figure out how to do this here. See if I can get you closer to see it. I don't think I can. Oh well. Sorry. Of course I can't figure it out right this second. But I've already poured the embossing powder on the crackle medium that's dried. So this is the Wow Ultra High embossing powder. Come on, focus. I don't know if it'll focus for you, but you get the idea. So this is going to be stamped into too. So I'm going to heat this up and then stamp it with that pink paisley stamp. These are from the Indigo Blue line that was out a little while ago, and it's a paisley. It's a nice paisley design. All right, and okay, and I'm also going to do it to this edge, so I need to put the crackle medium on that too. Sorry, I better do that so it'll dry, and then I can show you that part too, because I want to stamp into this edge. So you can do this on chipboard. You have to have something a little more rigid with the ultra high embossing powder, because it is pretty thick. Something that'll hold up to it. So I'm just painting the crackle medium on the edge of this. And then I gotta let that dry a little while I'm doing the other part. Nice even coat. Okay. Set that aside, let that dry. So again, this is the step one of the Helmar crackle medium. And because it dries clear and it also dries sticky. So it's really good for those you know, for gold leafing and embossing powders and anything like that, that you're going to need it to stay sticky for something to adhere to. And the crackle, of course, but we're not using it that way tonight. All right, so here's the technique. Here's what we're going to do. I'm going to heat this up. And as I'm heating, I'm not really going to talk too much, but I'm going to heat it up, and while it's still warm, I'm going to stamp into it and create the it's going to look kind of like a faux metal piece, like hammered metal. And you want to work in sections, because if you try to heat the whole thing, it'll cool down before you can stamp on one side. So I kind of do this in a couple parts. And it kind of gets a little bit fluid. If you have a thick amount on there, it's pretty thick. Okay, so I'm going to stamp. And then I'll hold it up so you can see it. Alright, so if you can see, get it up to the, oh, can you see that? See? Cool, right? It's going to be all kind of textured. So I just have to be careful when I heat it up again, because I don't want to wipe away what I already did. So I'm trying to heat away from that part. Alright, so I've done this. Let me hold it up so you can see. My camera doesn't want to focus. Come on. There you go. So now you can really see the texture. And this is with the adhesive and the ultra high embossing powders. Okay, so I did both those pieces, and I did the frame, exterior part of the frame. So this is the part that's facing out. And then I'm also going to do the edge, which is a little tricky. So I'll show you that too, and then we'll start assembling everything. Let me put that over here. And so the adhesive's still a little wet, but you can see the crackle. See how it's drying? It's really sticky, but it's turning clear, so it's not milky anymore. Alright, and then we're going to do this is the ultra high embossing powder. And I'm just gonna add it to the edge. Tap it off. Alright, so you can see it on the edge there. And then we're going to do the same thing I just did. I'm going to move that so it doesn't blow all over the place. And heat this up. And I don't know if you can see it, but it kind of turns molten. Let's see. The key is trying to keep it kind of wet without scorching it. Okay, and then I'm just going to stamp that. It's still pretty, really wet. If you do it too soon and it's really molten, it kind of pulls away. So you have to kind of do it the right time. It's just trial and error. This stuff is so sticky. So it's kind of all sticking to me right now. Alright, so let me try that again. You know, the nice thing is if you mess up, you can always reheat it and do it again. Okay. Stamping into the wet. Okay. And if it gets on your stamp, when the embossing powder dries, it just flakes right off. Sometimes it comes off a little bit, but it's starting to get a nice texture here. So you're just working in sections until you get all the way around, and it'll leave a beautiful finish with that stamp texture. Okay, so there's, looks like metal, like stamped metal or something. A nice way to give that very rich faux metal look. I'm almost halfway around, so try to do this pretty quickly. I'm kind of using different parts of the stamp to give it a little more interest. I don't want it to be the same all the way around. I want to kind of vary the design. Depends on what kind of stamps you're doing. Almost done. Alright, almost around. I get cooled before I get the stamp. That's the thing, if you get working too slow, it cools on you. The nice thing is you can reheat it. And like add a little more if it comes off. Alright, almost all the way around. Oop, that took a huge bunch off. Too wet. Alright, that's good enough. Okay, so I have my edge done, and now we're going to just put it all together. And what I did after I put all the paper on is I sprayed it with some glimmer mist. This one is Gumdrop was the color. So I just sprayed it to color the paper, and the resist from the embossing powder allows the gold to still show, so it's not going to wipe away. Alright, so let me just clean up a little bit and we'll move on to assembling everything together. Alright, and there's my embossing powder. Oh, and I'm going to show you something else, one more thing. Because I'm going to be embellishing this. I'm going to do some little embellishments that I'm going to add, and I'm going to use the same adhesive. I have a little bit left on my brush. I'm just going to go over the corrugated cardboard with it. I'm going to get inside. And I want to leave some of the corrugation. I'm also going to do the edge. And leave that to dry a little bit. So, I have very sticky fingers. Okay, so that's got to dry for a minute. And what else is embellishing? Let me see. This stuff. This is cool. Okay, this is the Zap Dots, and we're going to make some little tiles. that I'm going to embellish the inside of the Nicho box with. So I took these and I cut them up, and I am going to take one edge of the paper backing off, not the little individual edges, but the big backing. And I'm going to very carefully try to peel this. So I'm putting this on a paper plate, and very carefully, I'm going to use a gripper thing here, and I peeled the paper backing away. Oop, now it's sticking. Come on, stay still. Okay, so this part is sticky, obviously, because it's sticking to me. And I'm going to do, I already did the blue ones, and now I'm going to do the pink ones, because I'm going to alternate these inside the box, like little mosaic tiles. So I'm kind of making some mosaic tiles. So now I'm using Whirly Pop embossing powder, and I'm just putting that all on top of the sticky part. Okay, there we go. And then I'm going to just tap that off. And return it to the container. Okay, and then I have the embossing powder on there, and I'm going to very carefully, now that remember these are foam dots, so you have to be careful that you're not going to overheat it. You have to just do this slowly. This part is a slow process. Or not slow process, I'm sorry, quick process. You're just quickly melting, but you're moving quickly because you don't want to hold it too long in one spot. Because it'll melt your foam dots if you hold it too long in one spot. Alright, so I embossed those squares with the embossing powder because it already had adhesive on there, so I just added the embossing powder and then quickly heated it up, so now it's cool. Alright, so I've done those, and I'm going to be embellishing those with it. And I think I want to do one more color, and I will do green, I think. If I have a lime green color. All my embossing powders. So let me see. I have green. I could do, no, I have silver. I'll do black. We'll do the sparkly black. That's already black. Well, this has shimmer to it, so we'll do a shimmery one. How's that? I think I'm being indecisive. So again, you're peeling away the paper backing on the zap dots. These are the 1/2-inch squares. Okay, so I peeled that away. I'm going to lay this on a paper plate, and I'm going to put the embossing powder. This is a glitter embossing powder, glitter black glint. Wow, and black glint it's called. I gotta tap it off. Now it's shimmery. It's hard to tell because the squares are black, but return this extra to the container. And now I just use this little tool to hold it while I'm doing the heating. But it's super quick. Alright, that's it. Real quick. Okay, so now I have those squares, so I just need to let those cool for a minute. And now my heart is mostly ready. So this is the last colors, or embossing powders we're going to use tonight. So first, I'm going to add the pink, or Whirly Pop, sorry, Whirly Pop. And I'm not going over the whole thing, I'm just doing it randomly. Okay, so then I tap that off, and I'm going to return that to the bottle. And now I'm going to do the gold before I heat it up. Make sure you don't have any other color in there. Put it back on the plate, and I'm going to put gold on the remaining sticky parts. And I'll dip it so it gets the edging. Alright. I'll return that in a minute. Hold it. Okay, so now it has kind of a gold leafed and pink look to it. It's hard to see, can you see? On the embossed parts. And that'll be a little embellishment that goes on the final Nicho. Alright, okay, we're ready. So here's my Nicho box, and I am going to adhere it together with the 450 quick dry adhesive. We'll just quick get rid of some of the embossing powders. Alright. Gonna need to get the vacuum out pretty soon. Alright, so here's our pieces. We have the frame, and we have the two end pieces, and our tiles. So I'm going to be adhering this to the top of the opening, and that's going to become the Nicho box part. So it has depth to it. See? You see it? All right. And so that I'm going to do with the 450 adhesive, quick dry. And this stuff is like hot glue, only not hot. So you can use it anywhere, on pretty much any surface. I'm just applying a good coat, or a good bead of it along the edge here. And it's like its name, it is quick dry. It's gonna grab on pretty quickly. Okay. And then I'm going to just center this, make sure that no edges are hanging out. And it is going to be on there really quickly. So I can check the back to make sure it's centered. It looks pretty good. You see? So it's going to be adhered on that edge there. And now it's on there. See? Okay, so I'm going to flip it over. I'm going to put these. This one is going up here, and then this one's going to go down here to give the box with that Nicho shape. It has like a little, like kind of a crown look to it. So I'm just going to coat this. Nice, even, thick coat around that edge there, too. 450. And then, this is the right one. This presses down here. Making sure it's centered. Yep. Okay. And then I'll do the same thing for the bottom. So this is the bottom piece. Just want to make sure it's not crooked. And because I put a pretty thick layer, I want to make sure it's on there good and tight before I move on. Just checking. Okay. It's a little crooked. Hold it on there until it sets. Maybe I cut it crooked. I'm not sure. It's hard to tell when it's upside down. I gotta check it. That looks good. Okay. This top one's on there really good. This one I just gotta hold it a little longer. Alright, and then we're gonna embellish the inside. Okay. Now I'm going to put the tiles along the inside here. So I'm kind of going to do a pattern. And they do have the adhesive on the back. So they should stick pretty well. But if you're in doubt, you can always add a little 450 to it. So I'm going to start here. And I'm going to kind of create a pattern with my tiles. So I'll do blue, pink, black. These look like little mosaic tiles now. Alright, so I'm just putting the little zap dots that I put embossing powder on and emboss them. And now they look like little mosaic tiles that are going to embellish my Nicho box in there. Actually, that's good. Okay. And then I'm going to start blue again. So I'm doing like a pattern. Pink all the way around. Once they're stuck, they're stuck. Black. So this is going to look, I'll hold it up so you can see it. So it looks like little mosaic ceramic tiles that are going to be a little border in there. So when you look in the box, you see the tile border. And then you could put whatever you want in there to embellish it. I'm just going to add a couple more embellishments after I do the tiles. So it has the adhesive backing. So we already did the pulled away the adhesive backing for the embossing on one side, and now we have the other backing, and that keeps it clean, so you're not getting embossing powder all over it when you're doing that. And I love that I can cut these into strips and then emboss them, and then I have a nice neat little, I don't have to do each one individually. It's just so cool. Alright. Alright, so I'm almost done here for you tonight. And I hope you found this fun and some new ways to use the mediums and the adhesives from Helmar adhesives. And if you go to their website, you could get 10% off if you put in, I think it's JM 2012 is the code. Gen M 2000 or JM, sorry, JM 2012, I believe, is the code to get 10% off your order this month. So we have like a little Mexican decoration here. It looks like a little Mexican Nicho box, and traditionally they would display memorabilia or a little scene depicting things from a loved one's life, someone they wanted to honor, or they would put things in there for to help someone heal. Sometimes they were political commentary, but I've seen some, you can Google some ideas of things you could put in there. And I have an example on the Helmar Facebook page of the finished one, the original one that I did. So you could check that one out too. And I did a little bird cage nest thing for that one. Oh, I'm getting really sticky fingers. These things are great because they just stick so nicely. And it does look like a little ceramic tile border. And I'd love to see if you make one, if you want to post it on the Helmar Facebook page. I'll definitely check it out. See how you were inspired by my project for your own, and using Helmar products or any other, the embossing powders or any other papers or anything you use with it. This is way easier than gluing real ceramic tiles on. This is very relaxing, placing these things. You can make it any color scheme you want. If you have different color decor. Now I also added a bow, ribbon to glue. I glued it to the back with the 450 for hanging, so I could hang this. But you could also display it on a stand, or put like a wire on the back to hang on the wall, something like that, depending on what you're putting in it. Almost done. I think I might have to use these little square mosaic tiles on a layout for scrapbooking layout, or on another piece of artwork, because I really think they're fun. Alright, I'm on my last couple here. moving this one over. And one more black one. Okay, well, those are my little mosaics. Let's see if you can finish that. So it looks like little mosaic tiles. And those are just the foam pop zap dots. Yeah, they just pop up foam with embossing powder on them. And then I am probably going to put a decorative ribbon on the back to hang it. So I have some ribbon here. And then I'm done for the evening with this. So what I do is I decide how long I want the loop. I'm going to make my bow. So you gotta find that. It's not working very well. Do it this way. This is a May Arts ribbon I'm using. But you could do a different color. I like this one because it's kind of double-sided. And I used green in the background. But I think on my original I used a really bright ribbon. So you could add this bow to the box or as a hanger. To hang on the wall. So I'd probably just glue the ends and use that as the hanger. But I gotta figure out how I want to do that. I think I want the bow smaller. So I will work on that in a little bit. But we are going to sign off for now. And I hope you've enjoyed making a nicho with me. And, oh, I forgot to put here the heart, which I'm going to put right up here with the 450. And the wings. Make little wings on there. I'm going to stamp these wings before I hear them. So I'm just going to use, I'm going to use a Stays-On because it won't rub off then. So I'll just stamp that. There we go. Oh, you're welcome. I'm glad you tuned in for the second time. If you missed me earlier, so you got a preview of the actual recorded version, because last time I forgot to record it, so came back to do the recording for everyone. You don't want to see the garbage, sorry. And these are going to get adhered to the wings, or to the heart, with the 450. The nice thing about the 450 quick dry is that it will adhere a lot of different materials. Fabrics, felt, cardboard, metal. It even adheres to glass, because I did adhere some paper flowers to a glass dome, and it stayed really well. Okay, so this is going to go right here And then I'm going to put some words on that heart. Some stickers or something. Sticker words. So I'm still holding that for... I have sticky fingers. Everything's sticking to it. So every time I pull my fingers off, I pull off the heart. Use my nails to hold it down. All right. When you turn that around, you can see it. There's the Nicho. Mostly finished. I just have to add a few embellishments. I haven't decided what I'm going to put in the box yet. You know, I'm going to put something standing here. Or maybe I'll just put some words in there or something, or a picture. I haven't decided yet. Maybe a little plaque or something. So that I will add for later. But this is the Helmar Live finished version of the Nicho. You see? I'm glad you found it too. And if you do make one, you can take a picture and then post it on the Helmar USA site, Facebook site, on Facebook. Just look for, type in Helmar, Helmar, and you'll find our page. All right, well, have a good night, and I hope you'll join us again for another Helmar Live. Night.